Now, I wish I had this video, especially in the start of my journey, because when it comes to TradingView, as you know, it's one of them apps that we use almost every single day for our trading experience. The thing is, it can be very simple, but hopefully this tutorial, we're going to be going through a step-by-step guide all the way from the very basics up to some of the more advanced sort of tips into how to make your TradingView experience as nice as possible. So leave a like and we'll get straight into it. And before we get into the rest of the video, I have to make a note of one thing. From now on in 2024, no one is ever going to have to pay for a course again. So many people are used to the idea of having to pay $500 for a course that they can simply access online. So what I've gone and done is completely made it for free for every single one of you. It's going to be going from the very basics in module 1 all the way up to some of the more advanced concepts at the ends in the later modules. Now, why am I doing this? This is probably a question that you have. Essentially, I want to position Diamant Capital as one of the industry leaders, giving out as much free value as possible. And that's where I want to position myself. So for those who are interested but already understand SMC, still it's going to be very applicable to yourself, because especially moving on to the later chapters, especially in module 7, we've got some 2024 advanced liquidity concepts that not many people teach online as well. So if you want to get started with this, completely free access, sign up with the link below. You'll see it as the first link in the description. But yeah, enough about this. I want to get into the rest of it. So starting off with the very basics of TradingView, searching it up on the internet and bringing it up. We're going to be meted with this little landing page over here. It's going to be very simple. There are a few products that we can use. There is the community feature as well, where you can monitor other people's trades. But the main part that we're going to be interested in is the markets. Now, when we go into this, there's obviously different types of asset classes. For me personally, I trade Forex. So what's going to be relevant to me is looking at this type of thing over here. What you can do is simply just click on here, as you can see, and it brings up Euro USD. Of course, when you come onto this part, it shows you different types of information, everything that's coming up in terms of news, in terms of ideas, all that kind of stuff. But what you'd want to do is to actually bring up the chart is see on super charts. We are then greeted with this little dashboard, or I would say the main area of the trading portal. This is essentially where we're going to be doing the trading. You're going to be presented with the default version, which is the light version, and then also the green and red candles. This can obviously be changed to your preference. For me personally, obviously I do stick to the dark theme. As you can see, it's very clean. I don't really involve a lot of things in the background and everything. Try to keep it as clean for myself as possible. Again, long term is just the best thing. Now, in terms of the way that you can actually change it, we'll be getting into that right now. So if you do want to change all of your settings, all you're going to have to do is click anywhere on the page, your right-hand click, go down to settings, and then as you can see, you can change everything that you need. I'm going to be adding my key templates and key colors at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that if you do want to keep it looking like this in a way. So that's pretty much the very basics. In terms of how we can actually use this trading portal, it's going to be very simple. The left-hand side is generally used for annotations and any sort of shapes and lines we might use on the page. Then the top-hand side is just going to be relevant navigation tools. So we could add indicators, we can have a replay feature, all these kind of things I'm going to be discussing in details. The right-hand side, simply we just mainly want to be looking at the watch list. So as you can understand, there are many asset classes and different currency pairs that you can trade. So it's my advice that this eventually is cleaned up. So when you do look at mine, for example, as you can see, I simply just have one chart at the moment. Of course, I do have my more extended watch list, which I am going to be explaining how to get to. But yeah, this is the very, very basics of how to use TradingView. Now, the first essential part that you're going to be needing is going to be the Annotation tab on the left-hand side. With this one, it's very simple. It's pretty much all the tools that we can use when we are marking up our charts. Again, at some point, trading does become a form of art in a way. You know, you really are looking for key things, and obviously it has to meet your strategy. So these tools on the left-hand side will definitely help with that. You can add the little favorites bar as you do click through. So for example, my trend line is one of my favorites. All you're going to have to do is just hover on top. And as you can see, add to favorites, and it does come up over here. For me personally, I do sort of have a set amount of tools that I do use every single day, and we'll be getting into that straight away. So the first part you're going to have to be aware of is this little cursor area. So are you going to use a cross, dot, arrow, whatever it is? For me personally, the cross is quite simple. It looks quite nice. Then in terms of the lines, for me personally, the trend line is one of the best things, because say, for example, we are marking up any type of area, whether it's liquidity at the top. As you can see, when we do mark it up from a certain point, as we move our mouse around, you know, we can see that it's not as straight. If you do want to straighten it, all you're going to have to press is the shift tool, whether you're on Mac or PC. And as you can see, moving it down now, it moves parallel to the vertical or horizontal direction, as you can see over here. It's also got a bit of a diagonal one as well. Personally, I never use sort of the vertical one. It's more the horizontal one that we use completely. So that's the first tool we're going to have to be aware of. Some of the others are the horizontal ray. This one I use quite often, especially when it comes to marking out highs and lows. So as we can see over here, let's just say that one. We're going to mark out the high and the low over here. And if you do want to edit or modify any of these tools, all you're going to have to do is double click on it. And as you can see, we can change any of the actionable steps. So for example, the style, we can change the lines. Of course, we've got different colors, opacities, everything like that. One other key thing that you are going to have to know when you want to change the colors around, you can add custom colors. Obviously, this would have to be according to whichever one you are going to pick. But yeah, it's just as simple as that really. Moving downwards, we now have the Fibonacci type of area. For me personally, I don't use Fibonacci when it comes to my strategy. It's more so marking out certain zones. So especially identifying premium and discounted zones. With this one over here, I've actually developed it in a certain way that I believe a lot of you would benefit from. So as you can see over here, every time I apply sort of an area of interest, what I tend to do is use the Fibonacci tool. So what I get is something like this. I click it, and as you can see, it starts to mark it out. I've had a lot of questions about how I actually do this. It's going to be very simple. When you double click it, as you can see, you can edit it to meet your desires, whatever it is. For me personally, these are my settings over here, as you can see. So I've done the 0, the 1, and the 0.5. The 0.5 is going to be very faint. So as you can see, any color really, and then you just set the opacity much lower. Some of the others have the high and the low line drawn out completely. So it's going to be as simple as this. Now, one thing you're going to need going forwards, especially when it comes to saving your templates, is this. You click it once with your left hand, with a left click, and then you do a right click once. And as you can see, this pops up, this little menu. Of course, we've got settings at the bottom, so you can actually change the settings of the tool. You've also got templates as well. So as you can see, we can do a save as button. If you are starting out fresh, what this will look like is something like this. This is the problem with the free TradingView as well. You get a lot of ads that pop up. But either way, it's not too much of a problem. You bring it up, as you can see. This is what a Fibonacci usually looks like. Of course, I've changed it to my settings personally. However, if you are wanting to change things, as you can see, template, save as, and then obviously you would have to log in and do it from there. But you can save it as whatever you want. For me personally, I do have a few options. So I do have a 62% fib retracement. This helps identifying highs and lows or premium and discount areas. Imbalance, as you can see, simply just pointing out a gap in the market. And then we move into a mitigated, and then we also move into a point of interest. These are the only ones that I do use. For the point of interest, just one little thing. It does extend the line to the right. If we do change that to the mitigated, as you can see, it doesn't do that. So it just depends on what you want really. Obviously, just to meet any of your requirements in a way. So the fib retracement, I use as my first type of tool in a way. That's why it's on the left-hand side. Very, very simple because I use it all the time. Moving downwards, we've got some of these areas. These are more about patterns. I personally don't really use patterns. Again, you can build whatever you want with it, to be honest. Usually when you are building anything, so for example, let's say the path tool, if you do want to get out of this mode, because every time you click, it's going to touch it, all you're going to have to do is simply just double click and it will end it for you. So very, very simple idea with that one over there. Moving downwards, we've now got projections. So this is one of the key things, especially when you are getting into trading yourself and, live trading as well. To actually enter a long or a short position, you're obviously going to have to prepare for it, right? So the long position over here. Essentially, what I prefer to do is the darker color is going to be my stop loss box and the lighter color is going to be my take profit box. So for me personally, again, I use the gray and the blue theme. Of course, you can do that for whatever you want in a way. When you double click it on the left-hand side, as you can see, you've got everything that you do need over here. You've got account size, lot size, risk, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be more relevant when you link your live account. It's something that I'm going to be talking about later. But anyways, you can also change templates here as well. Usually, quite obvious. Again, if you are wanting to replicate anything, this is usually the case. On Mac is what I have as my operating system. All you're going to have to do is Command C and then Command V anywhere, and you'll just get a copy and paste Again, for Windows users, it's the same type of thing again. So that's very, very simple. You can also do a short position. So something like this. And then obviously you can extend that to whatever you want. You can see again all the important numbers that you are going to need. So this is going to be quite relevant when you are actually looking to trade. Now moving on, you've got brushes and shapes. So this one is a bit more relevant to us. So in terms of brushes, simply it's just being able to draw on here. It's quite useful for when you're annotating things and looking to explain things in more detail. Again, because we are on like sort of on a mouse or for example on the laptop cursor, it's not going to be that great to write with. You've got highlighters as well. Obviously, if you do want to use that. Again, when it comes to all of this type of stuff, I've adapted it to my requirements. Again, I usually like to put the opacity down. So 30% is a nice little zone that you could look for. In terms of some of the others as well, the main one is going to be the rectangle tool. Again, with this one, I've got many different versions of point of interest. I've also got dark gray, everything like that. You can rename it as whatever you want. And then also the main thing is going to be this one here, the path tool. This one I use very, very often, especially when I am giving out my entry ideas to my personal group, especially to those who have learned my elite strategy and now decided to sort of get in on the personal group really. I use that quite a lot, especially when I am sort of showing the direction. So yeah, obviously now we're getting to a point where we've discovered most of them. Obviously you have got text. When you have text, just double click it again as usual, and then you can change visibility, but that's not really that relevant. You can change the size, font, everything like that really. So going to be very, very simple. Now, in terms of shapes and icons, the only ones that I am really interested in is this little tick. It's then going to be the little $sign and then the X as well. So usually with a tick, I just use that for understanding where liquidity has been taken. That's a little simple way that I can use it. So as you can see, this trade, liquidity was taken, price pushed upwards, and then moved into this imbalance just below. So it was a very simple trade. Going to be doing a little case study on it. But yeah, quite a time around December. So all I'm doing is just taking a little back step right now, just studying the market in a way. But yeah, very, very simple ones. Once you do use them, it's going to come up as recently used. We do also have the ruler tool as well. So when you want to, calculate how many pips we've gone up. So for example, as you can see over here, it's going to be this little number that's moving around 44.3 pips. So that's essentially what the pip value is over here. In terms of the other ones, they're not as relevant. If you do want to delete all of your drawings, just click the little trash icon and then remove whatever you want. So that's going to be it in terms of annotating. Again, you are going to have your favorites tabs at the top as well. So this is going to be very key. Just saves you having to click more in a way, just easier to use. So yeah, that's going to be it for the annotation tab tools on the left hand side. And now moving on to the top bar as well. This one's going to be quite relevant when we are changing things and navigating around. The first one that you're going to be interested in is simply just the top left hand corner. It's just going to be more about your account details and everything like that if you want to sign out. So not really much to be used there. We have got something which is the color theme. So for me personally, I do put it as my system. My system is automatically dark anyways. So if you do change it, as you can see, it's the borders that actually change. So for me personally, I like the dark theme. I've also made sure that my background in the charts is the same as the dark theme color. It's just in general, it's quite nice when you are taking screenshots that it's all quite cohesive in a way. Now, in terms of changing your currency pair, all you're gonna have to do is a little search bar. As you can see, let's just say I want to trade BTC USD. It's gonna be as simple as that. So we simply just change it over there. This little plus sign is going to be a comparison tool, so you could do that as well, and it does put it on a different axes or on the same chart as well. So if you do want to use that, obviously that can be quite helpful when comparing in a way, or for example when you're doing currency divergence or something like that. When it comes to the rest, obviously we do have our time frames here. Me personally, I do recommend that the best time frames to use in general are going to be the 1 day, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, 5 minute, and the 1 minute. Again, it's just going to depend on what type of trader you are. For me personally, the way that I always go is I do my high time frame analysis on the 4 hour chart. And then obviously I do point out my points of interest on the 1 hour. So it could be an order block, could be an imbalance, whatever it is. And then 15 minute and the 5 minute is where I refine my entries. Sometimes I do enter off the 1 minute, but generally it's going to be off the 5 minute chart. Just for me in general, it can my elite strategy, it helps me to achieve, between 1 to 3 and a 1 to 6 daily in a way, with a very good win rate of around 70% as well. It's something that you can't argue with. So yeah, in terms of anything else, obviously we can change from candles to anything else. Indicators. This is one thing that a lot of you are probably going to have questions about. So the ones that I generally use are going to be this. The one that I get my logos and everything like that is going to be the first one. So the first one that you're going to be looking for is AGFX hyphen watermark. This one's quite simple. All you can do is simply just put your name and logo, whatever it is. For me, I put Diamant Capital. So in this one, as you can see, if I just put, let's just say YouTube videos, press OK, as you can see, it just comes up underneath. Again, the same type of thing is also relevant at the bottom. So we can show what date we are, what pair, and what time frame. It can be very useful, especially when you're giving analysis out online. Some of the others, you do have little alerts that you can do. But the main one that eventually people are going to be using is the replay feature. So I think this one deserves its own little section. So to explain the replay feature, there are backtesting softwares out there, and they are paid. They have more capabilities than this. But if you obviously can't afford it and you've only been able to afford the TradingView platform, the premium version, you can use the replay feature. So this one's quite beneficial, especially when we are backtesting or forward testing. More so backtesting in a way. Forward testing is, really about the live market. So let's just say, for example, in this occasion, I see that I'm in an uptrend. Where can price potentially move towards? As you can see, there's a nice little imbalance in this kind of zone. And then obviously we have got price further down as well. So I'm expecting that price could come to fill this imbalance. And then at that point, we'd have to see in terms of the entry, where can we actually look? All I'm going to do is put the fib retracement. Let's see which one we've got. I'm going to put point of interest, as you can see. And I'm going to be entering on this kind of order block over here. So all I'm going to be wanting to do is something like this. Obviously, I have seen the trade and how it actually turned out. That's why I'm only using it as an example over here. Put a buy over here. As you can see, just extend it all the way up to that imbalance up top. We could have a little entry down here as well, but we know how it turned out. All you're going to do now is this. You're going to press that play button. You've got different replay speeds. So I've just put 3x. If we click it, as you can see, price is obviously going to move. So it can be quite glitchy at times. It's not the best in terms of backtesting because you kind of see what the market is presenting you before. But yeah, this one's a very simple feature if you do want to use it in the long run. Again, you can sort of change it up in time, and then you can also forward it to the next candle. So this one is a bit easier to use in a way. And then again, you can just refer it all the way down to where price is right now, as you can see over here. So very, very simple in terms of using that. With this one over here, select layout. This one's just going to be how you prefer your charts to be looking. You can get a few sort of charts at the same time. Me personally, I think this is a bit too much. Either way, your attention should never be this divided. I would say max 2 charts, maybe 3, because with 2 charts, you can compare 2 things. Here we've got Euro USD as an example, and here we've got DXY. So usually they are going to have an almost 100%, inverse relationship. So whatever happens on EU will happen oppositely to DXY. So I'm just going to be turning that back and then going on to one chart. You can save different templates in terms of how your charts look in the background. As you can see, got little settings. You can obviously screenshot it as well. So this is one of the key features that we actually use. So when we copy an image, all we can do is, so for example, it's going to be able to share around for some reason. Let's just see, copy image. It should be able to load up. Okay, so it's not working at the moment. But yeah, you'll be able to share it around very easily, and then it can put it out quite cleanly. So that's going to be it in terms of the top tab. So very, very simple. I would say the main feature is going to be this replay one, and then obviously the indicators. I will be getting it more into the indicators on sort of in the future. But for now, I would say this is probably the best one that you can use. In general, the one that I use every single day is going to be this Asian range. So I do believe, let me just make a little mention of that. Asian range by Nico 948. This one is possibly one of the best ones. The settings as well, 1900 all the way to 0000 midnight. So this is obviously adapted to my time zone. My one's going to be relevant from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. So yeah, very, very simple in terms of that one. So let's move on to the next section. And so just a quick little side note for those of you that really want to take their trading to the next level. The one thing I always recommend to my students is backtesting and journaling. And the one place I personally use for all of this is Trader Edge. So this software gives you all the access to every single backtesting feature that you need, a whole strategy tester to allow you to put it into different libraries, a calendar, which I believe is actually one of the most essential tools to accurately track your trades and see your progress over time. And one of my personal favorites, the forward testing feature, which allows you to project how a certain strategy will do over time. So if you want to get started with this, click the link in the description to access one of the most trusted backtesting softwares there is available. Now moving on to the next important feature is going to be the top right hand corner, which is the watch list. All you're going to have to do to access it is just click this one with 3 little stripes on it. And all you're going to have to do is basically fix your watch list. This is one tip that I would say definitely helps with your trading. It minimizes the amount of pairs that you look at. So what I mean by this is this. The one piece of advice I give every single beginner trader is only stick to 3 pairs. For me personally, and what works best with my elite strategy is going to be EU, GBP USD, and then also Euro GBP. This is one of them that definitely moves nicely if EU and GU are moving in opposite directions. You know, with EU, we've got something crazy like a 40% average win rate. Not average win rate. It's going to be 14% monthly return as an average over 2-3 years. This is the data we got on the elite strategy. You know, it's for EU, it's one of the best pairs for sure because there's a lot of liquidity in the market and obviously it does move quite nicely. So anyways, moving on to the watch list. It's going to be very simple to be able to arrange it. So these 3 little circles is going to be the settings section. You can make a copy of your watch list. You can rename it, whatever you want to do. You can even share it as well. But the main part is going to be this add section part. So as you can see, section 1 was added. To change the name, all you're going to have to do is double click it. Let's just say, I don't know, YouTube, whatever. And then if you press the plus sign, add symbol, you can click whatever you want. So let's just say Euro USD. By this company over here, and all you're gonna have to do is just place it underneath. So as you can see, this one is very simple. When you do close it out, as you can see, it opens and closes the area, so it keeps it very nice and neat. In terms of the way that I like to arrange my watch list is going to be this. AUD is kept by himself, CAD, Euro, GBP, and so on and so on. So I would definitely say this is one of the best ways to keep it clean. Usually on a weekly sort of watch list, and the ones that I send out to my personal members with the breakdowns, it's going to be that I analyze them. So for example, on the 1 hour chart, I simply just look for sections that may be relevant. So as you can see, for example, at this point in time, you know, these 2 areas were quite relevant, and then obviously prices continue to push to the upside. Again, when it comes to this, there are so many pairs out there. I would definitely recommend skim through them, see which one is the best, but only focus on a few. In terms of focusing on just a few pairs, what's the best piece of advice is use the watch list, not the indicator, but the favorites tab. So what I would do is just click, you see this little button over here, and you change it to whatever color you want. If you are on the free plan, you can only use one. So it will be the red one, which is relevant. So yeah, EU, for example, over here, as you can see, I would only keep a few pairs on here. If you do want to have different watch lists, obviously that is possible. But yeah, that's going to be it in terms of the watch list. There are a few other areas which can be quite important. For me personally, I would only say this and potentially the alerts as well. In terms of adding an alert, it's very simple. With a free plan, you get 1 free alert. With the paid plans, I believe you get as many as you want. But yeah, all you're going to have to do is simply close this, go on the chart, and then on the right hand side, you've got a little plus sign, click it, add alert. And then when price moves to that area, we're going to get a notification on our phone and on our laptop as well. So this one saves us having to stay on the markets, but it notifies us when it is approaching that kind of area. So I would definitely recommend this if you do have a few pairs on your watch list and you don't want to miss the trades. So yeah, that's going to be very simple, and hopefully that all made sense. And so now moving on to the bottom section over here, as you can see, it's all going to be about the brokers. There are a few other things about coding, the Python editor, strategy tester as well. But the main part is the trading panel. This is where you're going to be able to connect your live accounts. So in this example over here, we've got many different types of brokers. Me personally, I use the Saxo trading app. You know, they do have their broker signed up to TradingView. Generally, all of these brokers are going to be quite good, simply because if they are already connected to TradingView, they are already a big, massive broker. So my one, Saxo Trading Group, already has its own app even. But yeah, it's a bit easier to use on TradingView itself. So if you do want to use that, all you're going to have to do is click on it once, connect. Yeah, connect it. I'm just going to sign in right now and we'll be right back. And so now we're back. We connected the live account from Saxo. As you can see on the bottom left-hand corner, this little Saxo and then the green sign, it usually shows that, yes, the live account is active. So when you are trading, there's going to be a few ways that you can actually apply this onto the chart. So again, usually what you'd want is you'd want to prepare your trade. So at least you understand, okay, if it hits a certain direction, that's where we're going to be entering. So let's just say, for example, I'm waiting for a little pullback at this kind of zone. Let's just say over there. Honestly, don't forget about the analysis at the moment. It's just for educational purposes to see how to enter. And then I put this take profit at the top. The way I'm going to be preparing this is I would select trade. As you can see, when you right click on the main dashboard, trade, create new order. And as you can see, we are now at this part over here. You can change it from a sell to a buy. Of course, in this occasion, we're going to be buying. Limit, as you can see, because it's relevant to what we're doing. You'd put the stop loss. You can either do the pips, the pip amount, or for example, you can do it at a certain price. Generally, if you do it at a certain price, you're going to need this little number. Let's just click it once. This little number over here. You'd select that in. Your take profit is the same thing. Your entry price is going to be the same thing. If you're doing market execution, it's a bit easier to do. But yeah, this is as simple as it is. Then at the bottom, if I drag it up, you'll be able to see my live account funds and everything. And yeah, you'll be able to track your trades live. When you are in a trade, I've shown this many times on Instagram and everything. So you can have a little look back and see the live trades that I've been shown when it comes to TradingView, for example, because it's the way that I personally enter my live trades. Yeah, it will be clearly showing you, for example, in green, you know, when it does enter a profit. When it is in red, it's going to be showing that you're in a loss. It will show your stop loss line, entry, and your take profit line as well. So it can easily be sort of moved around as well. So if you want to put your stop loss to break even, that can be done very simply as well. One day, when I am again on the live markets, I'm just going to do a little video just in the live profit that I am in, for example, just to show you guys how it goes. But obviously right now it's just after Christmas time, you know, moving into the New Year's. So I'm not really going to be looking to enter a lot of trades right now. So yeah, that basically talks about the bottom area. Again, we do have the replay feature that can be activated from over here. But yeah, apart from that, that's going to be it in terms of the main sort of dashboard in terms of trading. And okay, so for those who actually wanted my chart templates and colors, I'm going to be leaving this down below completely for free. So for those who want to access it, obviously you'll be able to see all the chart colors, templates, and everything that I do use. Again, we did talk about most of it in this video, but if you want it in a PDF form, you can have it for completely free. If you want it, it's going to be the link in the description, and obviously I'll send it straight to you. So if you do want access to that, link in the description below. In terms of the video, I hope that this was very simple in terms of TradingView. I mean, me personally, this is the only way that I do use it now. You know, it's just going to be these basic elements that we use every single time. It's going to be, you know, the watch list in terms of alerts as well. And then the main thing is that final section where I talked about how to actually enter live in the markets. It does help quite a lot simply because you can manage your risk very easily. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. Please remember that free SMC course is available to everyone. Of course, many people are paying for trading courses nowadays. I don't want that to happen anymore, and I want this to be as accessible to as many people as possible. So please sign up for that, send it around as much as possible and get the word out. But yeah, stay tuned for my next video, and I'll see you next time.